All right, folks, are you serious? Are you serious? Well, where do we go from here? That's the question, guys, as everybody is wondering. As of course, we do not have an official decision on the American election, but we have lots of more questions than we do have answers. And I think that's why we have to go to the experts. What does this mean for the market? What does this mean for the economy? What does this mean for America or democracy or this republic or democracy around the world? Is there a clear signal that things are becoming so messy that are we in the end times biblically, and we're starting to see the beginning of it? Well, let's go get our answers right now from the man who absolutely knows it all, and that is Trade Genius Academy, www.tradegeniusacademy.com. Bob Kudla. Bob, how you doing?
I'm good, Paul, but I have to confess, I know all the answers except for the last one.
Okay. All right. Well, let's start with the ones that you know. Okay. As some of you may know, that Wisconsin was declared. Joe Biden is the winner of Wisconsin, but the President of the United States has put in a recount. It is less than 1%, so they are going to recount Wisconsin. And I think Biden has a 21,000 vote lead. And but President Trump has declared himself the winner of Pennsylvania. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. He declared it himself. So Pennsylvania's been a moving target here. You can't trust the governor and the attorney general there, or the Philadelphia election officials, because of they keep talking different moving targets. So here's the game plan. So let's just assume there's no litigation and the votes come in naturally. There's a high probability that Trump will carry Pennsylvania, and there's a high probability that Trump will carry Arizona, and there's some probability that he'll even take Nevada, because of the mail-in ballots are coming in. Ironically, they're coming in pro-Republican versus what we have seen across the nation in terms of absentee ballots. So if that happens, Trump wins. Now, if that doesn't happen, there's irregularities right now in Wisconsin with this overnight stop the ballot count, and now there's more voters than were registered in the state. So that's a problem. And then in Michigan, there was also a tranche of ballots came in overnight that were basically, I think it was like 17-1, Biden to Trump, which is a statistical impossibility. And no other ratio is ever recorded ever in a presidential ballot. So that's a problem. So that's why Trump is suing for those irregularities. There are also irregularities, what I'm told, in terms of Florida, the old 2000 fame, where the voting machines were rejecting ballots because they were basically, you do your test in the wrong number 2 pencil, the reader rejects it. Well, they're going to have to go in and they're going to have to look at every one of those ballots, because they were, people saying they were given the wrong writing instrument to create their ballot. So that's all going to be litigated in Wisconsin and in Michigan. And in Pennsylvania, Trump's keeping a very close eye on Philadelphia, because the rest of the state has an insurmountable lead for him. So it's not over yet. Now, I'm old enough, and I've been talking people down the ledge all day long. So let's do a working assumption that Biden wins this election.
All right. Okay.
And that the Senate stays Republican, which seems now highly likely. And basically the House, their lead got skinnied. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a good chance Pelosi loses her job to more of a centrist. So Congress is essentially deadlocked.
Yeah.
And which means, and some of the things that were trading was, we were watching, there's a fracking sand company. If fracking was going to go, that was going to go up. That went up earlier last week. Okay, great. We took that trade, made money. And then on Monday, we started seeing that the lithium stocks were starting to take off. So we went ahead and bought that because that supports Biden. Because, lithium, EV, Green New Deal, yada, yada, yada. That this morning, that faded. Because right now, if this holds and Biden wins all the litigation and the first scenario I said doesn't work out, we're in a situation now where his ability to really push forward an agenda is basically dead on arrival. And his people that he's going to bring in are extremely angry and vengeful and spiteful people. And I think that they'll turn the American people off, and also they'll take away the animal spirits of growth. So I put a chart up there. I don't know if you could pop it up there. I stole that chart. I didn't make it. I thought it was an excellent way to explain where we think things will go. But there's a chart in there that shows that Trump wins and the Senate stays Republican, yada, yada, yada. And that's where I think we'll end up, either in the scenario where Trump wins, Republican Senate, Biden wins, Republican Senate. And that's kind of where it is. So we have a plan either way. Now, I'll take a breath so you can ask some questions, and we can talk about some of your other questions.
Bob, you bring up a great point. This is Bob Kudlow with us from www.tradegeniusacademy.com. That's tradegeniusacademy.com, and has done a phenomenal job helping people learn how to trade based on understanding an algorithm system, and really some really good tips and chat rooms where people share information. It's really, really good stuff. You made a great point, and there it is. She has there's his Thanksgiving special, the deal of the month. There you see it, that basic $3.99 for that basic annual stock market and all the other parts with it, cryptocurrency, binary options, buy, sell, signal, service, all that. And then you got the other Thanksgiving special for the stock trader, okay, for about $1,000, which he's knocked a lot off that price. That'll really help those of you who really are day traders, okay, and are really wanting to be really get the initial jump on what's happening in the market with some really good information. Bob, you made a great point. Let's take the analogy that Joe Biden becomes president of the United States. He will have to work with a Senate that Mitch McConnell will continue to manage, that is going to still be dominated by the Republicans, or I shouldn't say dominated, but it has the majority. He will have a weaker House of Representatives than they had in the last several years. So he doesn't have a lot of clout there. And then whatever his agenda was, however much of the socialism or communism or any of the other really left-wing liberal stuff that they wanted to work in, he'll never get it through. Taxes will not get raised. The Green New Deal will never get off the ground. And this will be, to me, 4 years of really not a lot of change at all. Just Joe Biden running around, reversing a few executive orders. But there's not much going to happen. But there is a court now that's 6-3 that's going to rule everything from a conservative standpoint. And that's good for America, in my opinion. And so the economy should do fine under Joe Biden because he can't hurt it. Is that right?
Well, yes and no, but there's also going to be, the stimulus is going to be an issue too. So you have to realize we're in a deflationary environment now because, the Republicans aren't just going to go ahead and give money to keep Joe Biden afloat as the president, right? You saw what Pelosi did to Trump, right?
Right.
So I apologize here. There's a gardener right outside my window. They always seem to come. You and I do our interviews, but they're not going to give Biden what he wants. So we need to have almost $4 trillion in stimulation next year. We go into a deeper deflationary decline. Okay,
Yeah.
Biden promised lockdowns. All right. So what's that going to mean to people? You know, you got Elizabeth Warren promising to sue and shut down and do whatever to, you know, she's just going to be harassing Wall Street left and right. You know, you got Bernie Sanders, you know, with his crazy stuff going on. So there's going to be enough things that what I would call curb the animal spirits, where people are like saying, you know what, I'm going to hunker down for 4 years. I'm not going to put any risk capital to work because they're just going to take it from me, you know, either through regulation or through some sort of executive order. And so I think the people are going to be kind of queasy. And if he starts shutting down fracking, right, with his executive orders, you know, I saw a report that said 600,000 in Pennsylvania, 700,000 in Ohio, 3 million in Texas, and I think 150,000 in Wisconsin, and I forget the other. Colorado had a couple 100,000 too. Are lost jobs because if they start shutting the fracking down. And what people don't understand about fracking, these wells have to be re-drilled all the time. And if he shuts that down, these fracking wells start depleting fairly quickly. And next thing you know it, you know, price of oil, price of natural gas starts rising. You know, we're importing oil again from our enemies, and you know, we start drifting back. So Biden can do a lot of damage. He just can't get his big stuff done.
You know, this is a great point. Bob Kudla's with us, TradeGeniusAcademy.com, TradeGeniusAcademy.com. A lot of folks are going to Bob Kudla's site over at www.TradeGeniusAcademy.com. And what's happened is they're getting in the training. They're getting one of his programs. They're learning how to use his systems, and they're beginning to take control of their own destiny. And you bring up a tremendous, great point, and that is the Fed. I would think that the Senate will begin to squeeze heavily. We will see the deflation process begin. If Biden goes for the lockdowns because of the virus, he will kill the economy. And then if AOC and Bernie Sanders get together and try to throw any kind of heavy regulations because they can't get the Green New Deal through, those regulations will kill business. And then Elizabeth Warren hates business anyway. So at the end of the day, they can do a lot of damage, as you said. Let's talk about what happens if Trump pulls this out, which I still think he will, believe it or not. What does that mean with this Senate, that he has a small majority and a House that's now not nearly as strong? Pelosi maybe gets replaced and is not the speaker. What does this mean?
Yeah, that's Goldilocks and the Three Bears, and that's the one that is just right. So you would have you would see a lot of expansion because of the he'll structure infrastructure bills. He'll be a cheerleader. He'll open up even more things. He'll reduce even more regulations, and so you'll see more enthusiasm. And that chart I popped up there, they call it the expansion track. So either you're going to get deflation track or you're going to get the expansion track.
Right.
And so the key now is to know which one it is. And it's not necessary for us to be sitting there all night waiting to see what happens. I mean, this will play out over the course of weeks. But, if Trump gets in, it's industrial metals, it's precious metals, it's infrastructure companies. If Biden gets in, it's going to be, we're going to be shorting real estate, okay? We're going to be buying precious metals to hedge. Cryptocurrencies are already moving, so there'll be a banking crisis. So you'll see more money move over to the cryptocurrency area, and so those are the plays. It's very binary, Paul. So there's no scenario where Joe Biden could come out as some sort of peacemaker. He made a deal with the proverbial devil, okay, to be their face, and he has to live with that. Now, here's the thing we didn't talk about. We assume Biden's going to even make it. I mean, the poor man, he's confusing his daughter with his dead son. He's slurring his words. I have a doctor friend who thinks the aneurysms are affecting his brain, and those aren't easy things. Those don't reverse. So I mean he's a great candidate for heart-on dementia or God forbid a stroke, and so he may not even make it to the inauguration, and then we have actual neo-Marxist as the president of the United States, which I can't even imagine giving her the keys to the football.
Bob Kudla with us. Great points here. Under Trump, you'll see economic expansion. Under Trump, instead of a lockdown, you'll see an opening up. Under Trump, you will see a stimulus package that will help fuel the economy and put checks in everybody's hands again. And under Trump, real estate will go up. Property values will go up. There will not be a banking crisis, but Trump still has to deal with something, and that's called a big, huge debt. And here's a question. If Biden wins, what happens with China and the tariffs, and how does that affect America? And if Trump wins, does he finish off this trade war with China? What's it mean?
Yeah, I mean, look, Trump's going to continue bringing manufacturing jobs to the U.S. Biden is it's an open question. He already said that he's going to consult with Europe, to determine what he'll do with China, which is stupid because Europe is compromised by China. They're gonna suggest to him things that will be beneficial for Europe, not the United States. So I think we're going to see a lot of cheating and obfuscation and I think the manufacturing renaissance that we were expecting is going to drift away. So I think China's going to be left alone. I think China's going to probably do something stupid, thinking that they can slip something back past the U.S. that might be consequential to China. Like they may make the mistake of trying to invade or neutralize Taiwan and find themselves into a shooting war that they didn't expect. Not even including the U.S. Taiwan themselves can cause them a great deal of mischief on China. So China's in deep weeds. What I'm worried about is them sucking all the food out of our country and Biden and Harris being too weak to stop them. So and I don't trust the Republican Senate. They didn't do Trump any favors. So I don't know. We'll see if they have a backbone this time.
Well, it looks like it may be a 51-49 Senate, and right now Mitt Romney and Susan Collins and the one up there in Alaska, they're the wild cards, and so Trump is basically he's handcuffed, and they might actually go along with some of this stuff that Biden wants, and so Biden may be in a supermajority. Unofficially, who knows? You're bringing up another great point, China, and why in the world would you go to Europe to try to figure out how to fund the trade that would help America? Obviously, with Biden, it's not America first; it'd be globalism first. He'll be constantly asking Europe and the globalists, "What do I do now?" I don't know what to do. And so, because he doesn't want to continue down the path that Trump did. I mean, the only thing you can hope for is, then again, if something happens to him, as you said, and this falls into the hands of Harris, that's worse. That's worse. I mean, if you look at her track record and you look at her ideology and that is so left. She was the absolute number one left-leaning liberal senator in the United States Senate. So she'll team up with AOC and some of the others and Sanders and we don't know where we'll be. Is there one good line? All I can say is this: thank God, Amy Coney Barrett is on the court. I think the 6-3 court might be some way to slow down anything that's absolutely devastating. Is that possible?
Oh, I think pretty much everything's going to be litigated now, because of the just the nature of the animosity between the two, warring camps. Sometimes you just have to let, I have this conversation with family members that they really don't understand the implications of their will because they're not old enough to understand the implications of what's happening. Sometimes you got to let them see it because you can't talk to them about it. And so that's what we have to now let happen. People have to see what it looks like when you have a socialist and a communist in your country, running your country. When you start asking, where's the jobs? Why doesn't mom and dad have money anymore? Why do you guys have to move? All this kind of stuff is going to be, I thought everything was going to be perfect now that, Orange Man is gone. So a lot of that stuff is going to be, now you can't blame Trump. I tell people now, if you're happy with Biden, you own it. This is what you want it. You said, this is the answer to all your prayers. You now own it. And I think people aren't going to like what they bought, but they don't know what they bought yet.
No, they got to put him in office to see what they're going to get. I think I heard Pelosi say something like that once, but we got to pass the bill to see what's in it. Let me ask you this question. Folks, this is Bob Kudla, TradeGeniusAcademy.com. Bob, you're going to be training people. It don't matter to you. I mean, it does matter to you because you care about the country and the overall growth of the economy. But you can still train people how to be successful even in this volatile, changing world. You have a strategy for a Biden administration on how you can help your people be successful in the market?
Yeah, I mean, of course, we've been thinking about this for, quite some time. I believe what that chart says that we'll have a deflationary issue. Look, tech's going to be in trouble, real estate's going to be in trouble, banking's going to be in trouble, and there's really few upside industries. They're not getting a Green New Deal, so you can put solar energy away. They got no lift on the marijuana stocks with all these states going marijuana. So we know where we're going to focus on, what industries we're going to focus on. And if ETFs, there's ways in which you can short the market that are effective under a Biden/Republican Senate. So we don't really care. We talked about this before. There's a bull market somewhere, always, and we'll find it, and we'll just apply our rules and take those trades. And if you're a day trader, which we've been doing a lot of day trading, it really doesn't matter. You wake up that morning and you just get a sense for the money flow of the day, and then you plan your trades accordingly. So I care personally, so don't take this pejoratively, but I don't care professionally. So it doesn't matter. We traded today effectively. We'll trade tomorrow effectively, and then once we get a trend, we understand the trend. We'll put people on those trends.
Bob Kudla, folks. Bob Kudla, TradeGeniusAcademy.com. There's a reason they call him the Trade Genius, because his success rate has been incredible, and he'll continue to be. And so this is very good. Go to his website, www.TradeGeniusAcademy.com. That's TradeGeniusAcademy.com. Find out all that he's got going on. He's got these Thanksgiving specials happening right now that really, really look good. Okay, Bob, so here's some more questions for you. As this moves on and we start to figure out who the president is going to be, do you see 2 years later, do you see a swing in the House going red about 2 years from now? Because it seems like after 2 years of the Biden-Harris administration, we're going to start to understand what in the world's going on here, won't we?
Yeah, that's almost typical that the House will swing against the first year, the first term of a new president. Because he'll, especially since he's not going to be able to get any honeymoon on this. So yeah, for sure. And here's the other thing too we haven't talked about. They promised a lot of things to the African American community that they're going to be unable to deliver upon. And so they're just going to be more and more frustrated.
Are you saying no?
And they won't be able to call anybody a racist this time.
You mean there's not going to be free college, and we're not going to see there's not going to be social programs are not going to be expanded. What do you mean? It's just they're going to get all the stuff that was promised, that if he's elected, he's going to blame the Senate. Is he going to blame the Republican senators for why he can't get it done?
Yeah, I mean, he can blame all he wants, but the Senate's pretty fortified now. They just went through their battle. The next election cycle, more Democrats are up for re-election than Republicans, and so this was the tough round for the Republicans this time. So yeah, and look, and they don't have a cheerleader, and Biden has no credibility whatsoever. And so, my personal view is I think we saw the last of the white Republicans for a while running as for president. We're going to start seeing people like Ron DeSantis from Florida, who I think has a lot of the same personality styles as Trump, other than he's not as abrasive, but he's also effective in the Latino community. And I think that we're going to see the last of these racist comments, because the Republicans are simply going to put somebody up there that they simply can't call a racist. So you're going to start seeing that. Look, we have a total flip here. 20 years ago, the Republicans were the establishment globalist elitists, and the Democrats were for the people. Now the Democrats are the globalist, elitist, coastal progressives, and the Republican Party are the working man's party. And so we've had a total flip-flop of what the parties represent. It's kind of hilarious. And so now you'll see if they're smart, and I think the House members that they've elected in are pretty sharp guys, and I think that we have a new breed of Republican coming. So, we're gonna have to soldier through this for the next 2 years, and then we'll see what's up.
Bob Genius. Bob Genius is right. TradeGeniusAcademy.com. That's TradeGeniusAcademy.com. Again, he's got some great Thanksgiving specials going on right now, guys. Go check it out at his website at www.tradegeniusacademy.com. That's www.tradegeniusacademy.com. And I think you've made some tremendous. I took notes during this. I actually wrote Biden and I wrote Trump, and I drew a line down the middle, and I started writing down all the things you'll see under Biden and all the things under on a second of, and Trump. If Trump ends up in the White House for a second term, he will be unbridled. And I think you'll see a lot of activity in the Department of Justice. Do you think under Biden that we're going to continue to see investigation, or is this all just going to get swept under the rug and we're going to start fresh?
Yeah, the bad people won.
So this is it. Hanging chads. It's coming down to hanging chads and mail-in votes, and whichever way this shakes out is either going to bring justice or no justice. Is that, and that's just the truth. And it's also, man, it is so polar opposite when you start looking at this. Wow, only safety net we have is God, and a couple of Republican senators, maybe. I mean, it's tight. Thank God, though, the governors, I think the majority of those are still in the right camp. But the mayors of the major cities are in an opposite position of the governors of the state. Boy, we're bipolar, aren't we?
Yeah, and look, they made their bed with these lockdowns, so they have a reckoning coming too. Nobody gets out of this one alive, Paul. I don't think anybody's happy. The Republicans aren't happy because Trump lost. The Democrats aren't happy because they didn't have a blue wave. The bulls in the marketplace are unhappy because Trump didn't win. The bears aren't happy because the market didn't go down today. Nobody's happy. Somebody said that the United States is sitting in the doctor's office waiting the results of a bad prognosis. Okay, and that's kind of how everybody feels. I mean, there's polls out there saying Republicans and Democrats together are just disgusted by the process, and we're dragged into it. This is what the social elites have done to us. They've literally turned each other on each other, for their own amusement. And but unless we come together and demand, some central common sense versus letting the the squeaky 10% on either side, run the show. We're just going to get more of this until somebody can knit together a coalition of Americans. And when I mean patriots across the aisle, people that love the country but might have slightly different viewpoints on things that we could probably come to common ground on. I'm not talking about the big issues. I'm talking about, do we tweak a tax here or there? Do we tweak a program here and there? Not should we give the country away or should we kill unborn babies? I think those things are intolerables. And so, but I think there's enough common ground beyond that. I think we could knit something together with the right person.
Bob Kudla, folks, TradeGeniusAcademy.com. That's TradeGeniusAcademy.com. Go check out his website right now. Find out how you can get in control of your own destiny. Because you talk about a volatile world. We're going to find out just how volatile it is. And if you're looking at this from a biblical standpoint, we're inching ever closer, guys, to a one world government. All right? God bless all of you. Bob, appreciate it. Thank you so much for your insight. I think I know what I need to do.
Hey, thanks, Paul.
All right. Bob Kudla, TradeGeniusAcademy.com. Go to his website, guys. Check it out. And really, he's got a great special going. This is a way for you to get some training and just start slow and learn how you can also be a trade genius. God bless.